Holy sweet mother of all that is good and pure. We have some weirdos in this world, folks, and it we had an experience with it at the Annika Pro Am with Caitlin Clark, Sophie Cunningham, specifically Sophie Cunningham in this instance. We already know we had a stalker of Caitlin Clark's who was arrested. There are a lot of weirdos in this world. I swear, mental health issues, mentally ill people seem to be becoming a very significant portion of the population. And it is terrifying what happens when they become the majority because we don't seem to be doing anything to fix it. And social media is making it that much worse. Caitlin Clark's pro am interrupted by man claiming to be Sophie Cunningham's boyfriend, and it gets a little weirder than that. It gets a little creepier than that because, and we check it out here, a man appearing to be in his 70s and claiming to be the boyfriend of WNBA star Sophie Cunningham was escorted off the grounds of the Pelican Golf Club during Caitlin Clark's pro am round after apparently being the victim of a scam. What does that mean? So, all right, let me read this next part first, and then we'll get into it a little more and talk about it. This is crazy. According to the Daily Mail, Cunningham, who was among the celebrity caddies for her Indiana Fever teammate, was walking the 10th fairway when the man shouted for her several times, calling her Soph. Cunningham ignored the calls. Two members of the Bel Air Police Department were assigned to the group for security. One stopped the man, demanded to see his driver's license, and taking a photo to identify him. Although he complied, he told the officer it was not necessary because he was Cunningham's boyfriend. So apparently, what has happened, and this has happened, well, I think this happens all too often, maybe not as much, not so much celebrity impersonators, but just women or men acting like women and using photos of being attractive are preying on men. But yeah, also, gentlemen, step back, back up, use a little common sense, Mister. You're in your 70s. Do you really think, having never met Sophie Cunningham, that you're her boyfriend? That is bizarre to me, even if you were talking to the real Sophie Cunningham. So, anyways, see, when he produced messages from a social media account purporting to be Cunningham's, the officer told the man he was likely being scammed. The man said he had sent his girlfriend, Sophie Cunningham, almost $2,000 in gift cards through the account. And he continued, of course, to ask to Sophie Cunningham, believing she would verify his story. A sheriff's golf cart then arrived and he was escorted off the course. So what? You're going to eject me for speaking to my girlfriend, he said, according to the Daily Mail. The man continued to say, if I could just speak to her as he was getting into the cart. This is absolutely insane. And it must be terrifying to have any kind of celebrity in this day and age. And let's face it, a lot of people have some degree of celebrity. Of course, there are a lot of people who consider themselves influencers or whatnot online, and they think they're a lot more famous than they are. But for stuff like this to happen, there have to be a lot of people out there with a lot of problems and a lot of people who are trying to take advantage of them as well. Oh man, but I mean, it's almost like they can't go anywhere without security. But here's the other thing I want to say about that. Just to this, just for those of you maybe have a little bit of common sense, hopefully you don't get caught in something like this. Let's even take out the fact that he's in his 70s. You think your girlfriend is Sophie Cunningham, okay? A famous person to a degree, right? I mean, okay, the WNBA. I mean, she's not Scarlett Johansson, but her star is on the rise. Do you really think she's become your girlfriend when your communication is solely online? And I'm guessing it has never been on the telephone. Also, do you think someone in Sophie Cunningham's position is having you send her $2,000 in gift cards and that Sophie Cunningham, especially now that it's the off season, does not have the time or the funds to, I don't know, meet you? I'm just throwing that out there. I'm just throwing that out there. It's absolutely, absolutely crazy that we are talking about this. Prior to the man being escorted away, the caddies each hit a drive. Cunningham hit a man in the gallery, didn't hurt anyone. That was played up a little bit for fun. Go check out that. I did that in a previous video when I just basically covered what went on at this event with Caitlin Clark and how she was received and so on and so forth. So you can see that in that other video. Cunningham buried her head in Clark's shoulder in embarrassment before Clark pointed in the direction of the crowd and told her she hit a spectator. Cunningham then ran to the crowd, hugged the man she hit before posing for a picture and signing the ball that hit him. Also signed a Caitlin Clark jersey that I believe the man's wife was wearing, which was nice. Cunningham was one of several celebrity caddies for Clark. Of course, we also had Lexi Hull there as well. Gold medal winning U.S. soccer legend, goalkeeper, doesn't say that, but goalkeeper Brianna Scurry, as well as NASCAR driver Carson Hoover. I believe it's pronounced Hoover. Is it? No. Oh no. I ain't even gonna try. I'm sorry, Carson, but shout out to you, but I'm not trying to say your last name again. Anyway, so the athletic, and this is what's crazy. This is what I was getting to before with social media, and also, guys, you got to wise up a little bit. The Athletic recently wrote about the catfishing scam in which fans are deceived into believing they are communicating with their sports hero obsession and tricked into making payments, typically through cryptocurrency or gift cards to who they believe is the athlete. Sometimes victims are in denial that they have been scammed, like the man at Pelican. Some victims blame the athlete, according to the Athletic. And that's mainly because one of the things they also done, unlike the relationship part of this that they go on with this story as well, is where people show up because they think that what they've paid for is some, a private dinner with that person or that celebrity. And those things are done legitimately. So, of course, if they think they've done that in a legitimate manner and they've lost their money, they are going to be a little ticked off. And I don't blame them. Be very careful with what you're doing on social media. And it is not easy because you can see it on Twitter, Instagram, whatever it is, where it can be difficult to tell whether the person is legitimately the person or not. You get a lot of people who make accounts pretending to be someone famous, and they put all the right types of posts on it. The name looks legitimate and so forth, and it can be difficult to tell for sure. But look, if you have a famous person asking you for money, if you have a famous person who's pretending to date you, maybe take a step back, check things. Now, the other thing on the flip side, I will say that I was kind of, I was making fun of this man being in his 70s. What's he thinking that Sophie Cunningham's going to date him? But the other factor is that is we don't know what his health is like and so forth. He could be easily confused, and it's just like any other type of scam, especially via the phone or now the internet and social media. Is it's usually targeting older people who may be in situations where they get confused easily. Maybe they're early onset dementia, nobody even knows it, and so they're more susceptible to things like this. But the other side is that take a step back, think about it with some common sense. You're most likely not getting into a relationship with someone like Sophie Cunningham strictly via the internet without ever talking or meeting. I am just saying, thank goodness they have security, because that's the other thing. It's such a wild world now. It's so much easier to find people. I'll end with this because it reminds me that I don't know if any of you ever watched The Big Bang Theory. There was an episode where um I, I don't want that responsibility. These don't work anyway. No. What's that? Security office is all the way at the other end of the bill. It's literally like the other end of the building. Let me leave you with this. If you are or think you are communicating with someone who is famous online and it elevates into what you think is a relationship to where you are together and you're going to use things like boyfriend and girlfriend, and yet you've probably never talked on the phone, you've never, I don't know, FaceTime them or had a personal Zoom or Skype or whatever you might use, Google Meetup, whatever it might be. You haven't met in person, yet they clearly have the time and the means to do so. Chances are you are not in a relationship with that person. Being famous is wild. I mean, it always has been, I think, even more so with social media. I'll leave you with one final story because it seems to have translated very much into real life. If you ever watched The Big Bang Theory, there was an episode where Sheldon Cooper, via social media and paying attention to, his tweets and so forth, was able to track down a celebrity that he wanted to see and interrupt his dinner to meet him. Okay. So that is the type of thing you have to be very careful of in terms of what you post online, whether you're famous or not, to be fair, because you might not be famous. You might just be someone with an account online and someone else thinks you've got a relationship that you don't have, and they decide they're going to track you down and meet you in person. So, anyway, just something to be aware of. Let me know your thoughts on all this in the comments below. Thank you so much for checking out the video. Really do appreciate it. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. You know the drill by now. Go have the day you deserve, and I will talk to you